Hi Tubies, here's Alexandra and welcome to another video in the Painting Essentials range. Today I show you another highlight method. The highlight method that Games Workshop is using for all their miniatures, especially their Space Marines. What I'm talking about is edge highlighting. So, what do you need for edge highlighting? How does it work? And why Games Workshop keeps using it instead of other normal highlight methods like highlighting with an airbrush or more Zental highlight or chrome effects or what have you. So the edge highlight is quite simple. You have your miniature like this with your shadows here in the recesses, and the armor itself is a plain surface, and then you start highlighting every single edge that is on the miniature with a brighter color. In this case we use here moon dust, a bright yellow. We put that on a palette, and then we are using here quite a fine brush for that. This is the Wargammer Regiment brush from Army Painter. But a fine detail brush from Games Workshop would do the same. So, and as you can see, I have placed the color here on the brush. So, normally you would start with the tip of the brush, but this is not the case for most of the edges we are tackling. For example, here at the pauldron, we want to simply just touch with the side of the brush, barely touching the edge, and as you can see, the color will be left behind and the edge is highlighted just like that. So there are other methods of edge highlighting, because not every edge is so accessible like this one, for example. So sometimes you need to use the tip of the brush. For example, let's say here at the inside of this hand, you just gently use the tip of the brush, just like that. See? Then, for example, here also on the elbow pauldron, gently touching with a tip of the brush, like that. So then there's another method. As you can see, I'm flattening now the brush until it is well, blade shaped, just like that. So for example here, if you have a surface like this, you can go with a blade shape with a 45-degree angle and then touching the edge. With that you get a very, very, very fine line on the edge. So, and that is basically the first step of the edge highlighting. And then you take the second step with an even brighter color. For example, we will use white now. So, for example, here the edge we have created before, we now tackle only the edges. Here, like that. This one and then this one, and overall you get a deeper highlight. See? Yeah, and that is basically how edge highlighting works. You well, tackle every single highlightable edge that the miniature has, and overall this gives a nice and clean look. You just have to take a look at every Space Marine box art, and you can see how it is done, where it is applied. I personally think it is not as a great highlighting method because it is not realistic. This is definitely a comic style highlighting method, but it is super clean, and this is why Games Workshop is using it. Well, if you like this style, you can go for it. I personally think it is a huge waste of time and it doesn't look that good, but if you like it, go for it. Yeah, this is how it is done. Go for the entire miniature and you're good to go. Well, this is that for this video, and we see us in the next one. You, Alexandra.